Nehoma. That is Cantonese for welcome. And it is appropriate because the word of today is chinoiserie. Now it's a noun. It refers to a vogue for the Oriental style that predominated in the 18th and 19th centuries. Chinois is French for Chinese. So technically it means anything designed in the Chinese or the pseudo-Chinese style. This could include things like furniture, porcelain, fabrics, etc. Now, while chinoiserie does not construct the East in negative terms, it nevertheless promotes an unrealistic, idealized, and fairy tale version of the East. The tale can even be used pejoratively by suggesting perhaps an object is overwrought, maybe too ornate, or perhaps even tacky. A literary reference for this word can be found, I think, most interestingly in a novel by Evelyn Waugh called Brideshead Revisited.
Lord Marchmain is the owner of the magnificent and ancient estate of Brideshead. After a long estrangement from England, Marchmain comes home to die. Perversely, he decides to spend his last days in the Chinese drawing room of the elegant mansion. This act puts everyone in a tizzy, but the Lord insists. The room is decorative only and not meant to be inhabited. Charles Ryder, his guest, describes the room as, quote, a splendid, uninhabitable museum of Chippendale carving and porcelain and lacquer and painted hangings, unquote. Marchmain's guests dine with him in that room, and Charles deplores what he calls the grotesque chinoiserie chimney-piece, and says that the gilt, the mirrors, and the lacquer give the air a scene of pantomime, of Aladdin's cave.
The question is why Lord Marchmain insists upon dying in this room. Perhaps the room represents an un-English space. Although the Lord is British, he has become the other because he's long been estranged from the land, and he chose to live in Italy because of his detestation of his wife. He has been outcast from his land and his home because of her. Despite her death, he still cannot come home in any real sense. So the chinoiserie room allows him to be both in Brideshead and without. It symbolizes an unhealed rift. So, that's our word of the day. Please try and use it in a sentence. I would suggest if you see a beautiful piece of Chinese porcelain or pottery, that you say something like, my, what a fine piece of chinoiserie you have there. So, joyeux, and remember, decorum always.